Hey, I am going to smoke pipe tobacco on this one, but the that's not really what I'm going to be talking about. Um, we're going to be personal. Uh, I am disabled. Um, I don't look disabled most of the time. I do have a cane. It's hanging from a steam pipe up above me. Nice cane, athletic tape wrapped around so that it grips better. Um, Made in Germany. I kind of like it. It was the cheapest model. Um, I don't always need the cane. Sometimes I do feel like I'm 26. Um, I'm almost 27. Um, but if I'm out at like the grocery store or someplace like that, I bring the cane because my hands, actually my whole body, but my hands hurt too much to say bag groceries. And you go to a grocery store, and if you're a kid, the bagger tends to wander away. And by kid, I mean anybody younger than 30. Um, and so I bring the cane so people will see the cane and think, oh, he's disabled. So it's sometimes it's a prop. When I really do need it, I don't often leave the house because, like I said, I ride a motorcycle 4 seasons, and I got one that's kickstart only, so it's self-regulating. If I can't kick it over, then I'm not good enough to ride. I'm kind of stumbling right now because of a few reasons. One, I haven't slept since Friday. Two, I'm in a lot of pain. And three, while these pills are almost empty, there's only two left in the bottom here, which is actually a problem. But you see the giant bottle, and I get two of these every month, and I take 3,600 milligrams a day of this medication, and it's a nerve painkiller, and I'm still in pain. It's a non-narcotic. Um, Narcotics, if I was taking, say, Vicodin, I'd be taking probably 100 milligrams a day, and it makes you stupid. Um, but it really does take take the pain away, and so I miss that. But I like being able to think. But I've spent the last 2 weeks pretty much in this chair. I go upstairs at night or whenever I go to bed. I get undressed, I go to bed, I wake up, I get dressed, I come back, and I sit down in this chair again. And in the last 2 weeks, I've spent a lot of time by myself. Uh, my friends are scattered. Um, it's one of the joys of being in your mid 20s is that your friends get work. Brent's a helicopter pilot, and Kyle uh, is in the grad program at BU and teaching. Paul works for GE in the aeronautical engineering out in Salem. Chris works for Pratt and Whitney on air, aircraft engines down in Connecticut. Brent's a helicopter pilot in Connecticut. John's in Korea building a nuclear power plant. Liam is up in New Hampshire at school, learning to, I think, do outdoorsy stuff for a living. Will is he works in Boston. Um, he's an animator for like commercials and news stuff and stuff like that, like the spinning globes and stuff like that. So they're all scattered. I don't see them all that often anymore. So I spend a lot of time by myself, which can be hard. Um, a little bit about being the disability. A lot of people think, well, you're 26, get a job. I pump gas for a living if I could. I used to have dreams of being a cinematographer or being a techie in New York on Broadway, or being a motorcycle mechanic, or being a chef. I've actually had schooling for most of these things, or being a history teacher. And really, I would pump gas. I would start pumping gas tomorrow if I could. It'd be a bagger at a grocery store, just to work, just to feel useful, to feel like I wasn't living and depending on other people. I depend on the state for most of the food I eat. I depend on them for my money, for basically rent, and gas and everything else. I depend on the state for my health care. I can't afford health care, so it's free from the state. These pills right here, without health care, cost $400 a month. These pills in my other pocket, $200 a month. With the state health care, they cost $2 per bottle every month. When I was living in Phoenix, I was paying full prices for my medications. Since Phoenix, when I was 17, I was living here. I was diagnosed with Klinefelter syndrome. That means I have an extra X chromosome. There's two body types for people who have Klinefelter syndrome. For men, you can be short, fat with breasts, or you can be extremely tall and thin and have trouble putting on muscle mass. I lucked out on that one ever so slightly, because life would have been hell. But I do have low testosterone, so I have to apply gel to my shoulders or abdomen every day. And this is like a month and a half trying to make this grow, and it will grow to be about 1 inch by the time winter's over, and it will look really bad. And it's not shaved right here; it just simply won't grow. So Klinefelter's was okay, So I kept going back to school and trying, and I go back to school and I get straight A's, and then I would end up having to take a medical leave halfway through a semester. And then I go back again, and I get sick again, and I go back again, and I get sick again. I've been to 4 colleges. I've moved to Ohio twice to work in kitchens. I moved to Vermont to go to New England Culinary Institute. That lasted 3 weeks. I went to MMI in Phoenix. That lasted 7 months. That's my record. And I took 3 medical leaves, a month long each, while I was there, because my body just couldn't do it. My heart, my mind, I have the mind of an engineer, and I just can't do it. As it turns out, I have 3 syndromes and a disorder. I have chronic pain syndrome, which means that at least on a daily basis, at least once a day, it feels like somebody's trying to take my rib cage apart with a pry bar. The pain is so bad, while somebody else is breaking needles off in my heart and lungs. The pain is so bad that if I don't pass out, I wish I was dying. I wish it would just end. The pain is so excruciating, and it happens often. I have fibromyalgia, which means that I'm in pain pretty much all the time. My joints, my body, everything just aches, and it feels like little creatures are eating the muscles out of my legs every day. That's not going to get better, by the way. It feels like that while on this medication. If I'm not on this medication, I can't fucking move. I curl up into a little ball in bed, and I can't move. I'm in so much pain. I have Klinefelter syndrome on top of those 2. And then I also have post-traumatic stress from stuff that happened to me when I was in my early teens. I'm actually writing a book about that. It's not going to be very uplifting or upbeat. I got fucked with a lot in my early teens. and so I don't sleep so good, and I don't trust so good, and a few other things. So combining all of those things, I'm going to be 27 years old next month. I never thought I'd see 20. And I don't know how to deal with it. And I smile and I laugh and I make jokes, because if it's not funny, it's depressing. But how do you deal with something like this at the age of 27? I don't want to go to support groups with other disabled people. I'm sorry. They depress me. I would rather hang out at bike shops or a theater or anything, but I can't leave the house most of the time. And it gets worse in the winter time. And I'm trying, and I'm fighting, and I'm struggling, and I'll just keep right on going. I've lost my father. I had a friend die in my arms a few years ago. Most of the kids I knew in my early teens are dead now. That goes with post-traumatic stress, because of the things we were involved in. Life's an endurance race, apparently, and I can bitch and moan about my problems, and I know that there are kids starving in Africa, and I know that I don't have leukemia, and I'm not dying any faster than most of you, and I take heart in that. It keeps me humble, because no matter how bad it gets for you, it can always be worse for somebody else. I have friends, I have a home, I don't have my health. I go stir crazy, but it can always be worse. And when it can be hitting rock bottom, and you can have that one day where friends come over, or just one person, and that can make up for everything. So I doubt many people will see this, but if you do, and if you're disabled, just hang in there, because I know it sucks. I really do. And I know that you can want to kill yourself, and I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody for that, because God knows I've thought about it. But just hang in there, and I hope it all works out for you, because it's an endurance race, and you just got to keep trying. Anyways.